Hello, my name is Yani and welcome to my channel. This is a cross stitch channel where we talk about projects and fabrics and flosses and materials and all these little adventures that we as stitchers sometimes have. This time I want to talk a little about some of the projects that I'm currently work on and the different materials that I'm using. So not much in the stitching progress front, but we can talk about different flosses and fabrics, and perhaps that might be interesting. So first of all, I want to show you another little closet that I make to organize and to storage my flosses. So this is another idea. I make one of these a couple of weeks ago, and by making I'm I'm referring to, you know, adapt to storage my flosses. So this is a really pretty box that I got here in a decoration store. It's a little trunk, and I really like the decoration, very Mexican style, like a ceramic kind of decoration. So I'm really I was really liking this box, so I think, you know, I might use it for my my flosses. And because I wanted to use in a vertical way, I glue some like legs for the truck, these little crystal stones, you know, the decoration type of crystals, and I glue them in the bottom part of the box in order to put the trunk like that. And then I added a little hooks to place my flosses. So these are my CXC collection. You can see I am placing the flosses in these little metal rings. So I put actually my husband put these little metal hooks, and I can put my rings, and I can have a little floss storage kind of closet, you know, and it's really pretty, and it looks nice in my stitching room. So yeah, this is my new haul for the for the week, this little storage box, you know, in the form of a Mexican little drawer. So yeah, let's talk about projects. So let me put my box away. Okay, I want to talk a little about what projects I am working on. Not as much as I wanted to stitch on, but I thought it might be interesting to show you, because I'm stitching in different materials and with different fabrics and flosses. So of course the results are very different from a project to another because of the differences in the materials. So it might be interesting. This is my start in pandemic. It's kind of hard to see the true colors of the fabric, you know, always with hand-dyed fabrics. It's a struggle. So this is, I am stitching this in a cotton fabric that is 38 count, equivalent to, you know, very similar to a linen 40, not quite there, but, and I'm stitching with one floss over 2 threads of fabric, and I'm using silks. I'm using this is Silks for You. It's a really pretty silk, and I thought that might look really nice against this very dark fabric. So I'm stitching, you know, one cross at a time, and it looks really, you know, funky and fun and and pretty to look at. So it's just the start of Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler, and I'm really loving this combo of materials, you know, one thread of silk or one, you know, floss of silks in this kind of count and in this kind of fabric. Originally, this is as I say, a 36, 38 count, but because of the dyeing process, it almost got to a 40 count. So yeah, I am very happy with this, and this is a really long project. It will take many years, but I have a full skein or a full hang of silk, so I'm thinking I have enough material. But yeah, this is one of the projects that I'm working on. I'm really enjoying working with this type of combo. Okay, another of the projects that I have currently is Eliana, Princess Eliana by Mirabilia by Nora, and in this case I'm using the DMC flosses. You know, I'm not making any conversion, so I'm going to use all the original materials. Really strange thing in my case, but because I'm more used to make conversion with my materials, and you know, changing flosses and even mill heels, and you know, experimenting with my projects. But in this case I am using all the original colors for the project, and the crystals and the beads calling in the project, and just playing a little, because I can't stop playing with my projects, playing a little with the fabric. In this case I'm using Aida 14 that I double dye, or I made a double process first with coffee and baking the fabric, and then adding all these colors in order to make a kind of a background, like a forest, like a meadow, you know, to give the impression that Eliana is running in a beautiful, you know, valley or meadow or something like that. So yeah, and in this case I always stitch my mirrors 2/2, so it's a jump from the 40 count 1/2 to a 14 Aida 2/2, and it's always, you know, fun and interesting to have this process that you are working with one project and then you jump to another, and it's different, even the technique to work with, because in this case I'm not complete each cross as I go, but I use the Danish method, you know, when I stitch with solid colors. And in the case of Pandemic, I use the English method, where I finish each cross. in order to appreciate the change in the color, the subtle change. In this case, not so subtle, but I mean, you can stitch with this type of fabric and with this type of colors as you wish. You can apply the Danish method, stitching the bottom leg of the cross and then returning to complete the crosses. But I like in this case to finish each cross. And when I'm stitching with solid colors, I stitch the first part of the cross and then I return. So it's different, and of course you feel different the material, the silk against the DMC. It's a little different, so it's nice to have all this option and all these possibilities to play with different materials, with different flosses. And the most important thing is to try to find the joy in each combination. So yeah, it's kind of a relief when I'm stitch a few crosses in Aida 14, because you can see better the crosses, and it's a little easy to stitch. But I like better the crosses in higher count. When I'm stitching just with one floss, the crosses look very tiny and very dainty and pretty in a different way. So yeah, it's, again, there are different types of projects and different types of stitching methods. This is another project and another combo. In this case, I'm using CXC flosses. This is like a cherry blossom, which I need to finish because I only need to stitch, the many white flowers. And I'm using here an Aida 16 that I dyed, and the flosses I'm stitching 2/1. And again, it's different the process, and it's different the stitching rhythm that you have to have with this combo. And I find this is my least favorite combo because the Aida originally a 16 Aida, but because of the dye process, it's a little smaller. It's almost like between 17 or 18 Aida. So trying to stitch with two flosses, I find it a little like really tight. And this is my least favorite combination. I prefer Aida 14 with 2 flosses, and the crosses look really nice, and like the crosses have enough space to play and to look pretty. And with this Aida, the crosses are a little tighter, and they are all really together. But of course the design is really beautiful. And as I saying, I made a conversion in this case and start to play with this type of material. These flosses, the CXC flosses, are a little thicker than DMC, and it's not 100% cotton. They are polyester and cotton, so the shine it's a little better, and they are much softer. But I mean, they are really nice to work with, but you have to have this consideration, because if you work with very large pieces of floss, they start to make like little balls, like little blobs or little, not knots, but they start to get fuzzy. So you need to have this consideration. And yeah, but they are really, really pretty. And an interesting thing about this type of flosses is that I usually dye my my flosses, my DMC flosses. Let me show you some of them. These are DMC originally white that I dye. I love to play with my colors and combination and stuff. But if I want to dye a CXC floss, because it's not 100% cotton, the dyeing process would be different, because with DMC, because of the type of floss that it is, the 100% cotton type of floss, the dyes work really, really well. And with this type of flosses, the CXC flosses, because they have polyester, you need to use another type of dyes. They are called dispersed dyes. So in order to create a more solid color with these flosses, so you can dye them, but the results are going to be really, really light in comparison with the DMC, which is 100% cotton. So you will have to change the method in order to dye these flosses. So that's something to take in count too, if you want to dye CX flosses, because of the composition of the floss. But as they come in a solid color, they are really, really nice to work with. I work in a couple of other projects with this type of flosses, in a higher count, and with one floss over two, and the results are really, really pretty. Let me show you one of my recent projects. Okay, for example, this is the fabric, my fabric, like 36, 38 count, with CXC one floss over two, and you can see that the coverage is really, really pretty, and they look really, really nice. They are really nice to stitch with. And this is another example. This is a little sampler that I did, and again with CXC flosses 1 over 2. They look very, very nice. So yeah, they are really nice materials to work with, but you have to have in count these considerations. But yeah, I totally recommend at least to try to find if you feel comfortable working with them. And finally, I am working in this red sampler, originally not a red sampler, but it's called Florally, and it came in a green blue colors, but I decided to start again and make a really nice red sampler. And I'm using my favorite red color, which is DMC 115. And again, it's another combo. I am using a fabric that I can get here in my city. It's like an even weave. It's a cotton even weave, and I coffee dyed this fabric and then bake it. So I wanted to achieve a really antique kind of look, and I really, really like it. And I'm stitching 2 over 2, And even though I find I left a really small space here, but it will be enough, will be enough. Trust me, please. And I find it a little, again, a little crowd. I prefer 1/2 in this, it's a 36 count, but they look so pretty. The design is so pretty that, you know, I'm I'm working my way through this sampler. And again, it's a matter of preference. You can stitch 1/2, or like in this case 2/2, and the crosses, you know, like forming like little dots instead of more skinny crosses with one floss. So they are just different ways of stitch. They are all very valid. You can, you know, find your way and find the combo of materials. Again, flosses, it can be cotton, it can be silks, it can be polyester and cotton, and playing around with all these possibilities. And the fabric, you can use many fabrics to stitch. We here in Latin America and in countries that we don't have access to all the cross-stitch official materials, we play a lot with the possibility of finding substitutions for our projects. And it's an invitation to play with our creativity and the different options that we have in hand. Of course, I love to stitch with silks in a 40 count linen, really nice and really pretty, but sometimes it's difficult for us to get access to those materials. And then we have this opportunity to find alternatives and loving another type of materials and not be limited by the things that we can have access to. And, you know, playing with all this, and it's an adventure. So sometimes we feel a little discouraged because we can have, you know, we can buy a full kit or of beautiful silks and gorgeous linen and, you know, all of this, but we can have another chance of stitching a project using different materials. And it's an invitation, and the final result, it's the result of our work and the beauty that we gave to that project. So yeah, this is a kind of an invitation to play around with your materials, with your option, and with a world of possibilities. So thank you for being with me today in this small video. I will try to, you know, keep stitching, and it sometimes is difficult in these you know, times. We have so much problems and so much trouble in our head that perhaps we are not in the best mood to stitch and to sit and to enjoy, but sometimes it's healthy to give ourselves that opportunity. So yeah, have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, stitch a lot, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.